www.thegreatwhitebrotherhood.org.
Krishna. Krishna never was an actual person, in the sense of a physical body. However, all people only exist in the sense that their physical body is a container for the soul. Now, this next part will be a little difficult for people to comprehend, because we all think of ourselves as individual beings. We are born as the result of the joining of two people's genetic material, sperm and egg, which creates within the womb of the mother, a body, a baby. This body is given an identity. It has a name, a birth certificate, identity papers, and so on, which create the impression that it exists as a unity of life. Certainly, we have the impression that a person exists as a unique person, separate from any other person. We can see, with our eyes, that person. We can hear that person, when he or she speaks. What do we see? We see someone who is, generally, male or female. Tall or short. Fat or thin, and so on. We can describe that person, as being white-skinned, or black, or brown, or yellowish. They will have blonde hair, or brown, or black, if they have hair. They will have blue eyes, or brown, or greenish, and so on. They will have a certain timbre of voice, which we can pick out, when receiving a telephone call. In short, we have the distinct impression that we all exist as individual people. And, to a certain extent, this is obviously true. But, behind each and every person, is the spiritual part. This spiritual part can be very confusing, and not at all easy to explain, because we cannot see it. This has given some people the chance to fabricate lies and misinformation concerning the spiritual aspect. As this spiritual aspect is undetectable, we can say almost anything about it, and no one can deny that what we said is, or is not true, as proof is impossible to produce. We come into the area of belief. Does the spirit exist? Some people believe that it does, and others believe that it does not, and both arguments are equally valid, because there is no definite proof, one way or another. Belief is a personal aspect of a human. We can easily demonstrate that a body exists, as was mentioned earlier, but the most important aspect of us, the spiritual aspect, is impossible to prove. We would also like to mention that there is a word missing in most languages, and that is the word that would describe the non-physical part of us. We use the word spiritual. But spiritual implies the quest for perfection, in a non-physical sense. But much of our makeup has nothing to do with that quest. Much of us is just our non-physical makeup. Only a small part of us is concerned with the drive to make connection with the God force. Thus, we have just one word for two aspects, the non-physical aspect of life, and the quest for perfection. To return to Krishna. We have described a physical body, and its identity. Krishna did not exist as a physical person, in the sense that we described earlier. But in the spiritual sense, Krishna did exist, and still does. He is a belief. So many people who follow that belief, have created, in the spiritual realms, a concept that we can say now exists as a belief. A belief so strong, that there is a being in the spiritual realms, that answers to the name of Krishna. Krishna is not God. God is the entity that created everything, and has existed long before any humans were created, long before any belief system was created. Thus, we can say that Krishna never existed as a physical form, but now exists as a spiritual invention, created by the beliefs of billions of minds going back, over many generations. As you can understand, concepts such as this are difficult to describe, and difficult to comprehend. We have, however, done our best to describe how physicality and spirituality exist, and how it is possible to create a spiritual entity through belief. By extension, you may be able to comprehend that a number of great saints of many belief systems never actually existed in a physical sense, but do now exist in spiritual form, quite simply, created by the belief of many people, over long periods of time. This belief system has created many life forms in the spiritual realms, both positive and negative. To create positive entities is obviously beneficial to all life, whereas to create negative belief forms can generate much harm, as people are influenced by such beliefs. Unfortunately, in the past, negative belief creations have been encouraged by archon-influenced religious leaders, and thus, entities such as the devil, Satan, and some negative archangels have been created, creatures that never, ever, actually existed, but now exist, because of people's belief in them. We look forward to the day when all people turn to positive spiritual thoughts, and these negative thought forms disappear into the net, and stop influencing people to create harm. Harm to the planet, and all life that lives on its surface, and in the spiritual realms. There is no need for such thought forms, and we would all be better off without them. We have taken the opportunity of the question about Krishna, to explain an important aspect of creation of life through beliefs, a subject that has seldom been investigated, but that has considerable importance, and influence on humanity.
Thank you for watching this video lesson. Please visit www.thegreatwhitebrotherhood.org for more lessons and free downloadable books.